So, you're ready to check out Genesis, right? Well, you've come to the right place, and I'm so pleased to share with you everything that I can. I've been playing Genesis since 1995, and I truly believe that it's the best mod out there. There's really a lot to love about it. Not only does it have an amazing community of players, but there's a lot of freedom and flexibility in the type of character you create. It's not just some hack and slash game. Well, there is some hack and slash if that's your thing, but what really draws people to the game are the multitude of role-playing possibilities. It also just so happens to be the thing that keeps people playing. Instead of the typical D&D classes, we have various guilds. I'll explain them more in depth in a later video, but for now, know that the way you pick your guilds will define your class. There are plenty of options available. If you want to be a thief, if you want to be a noble knight, even if you want to be a pillaging member of the army of Angmar. The options are there. Oh, and did I mention the best part of Genesis? It's completely free to play. No ads, no subscriptions, no in-app purchases, and nothing to download. So, the first thing that you're going to want to do is create a character. So, why don't we do that together? So, I'm going to be using the game's web client, which includes a map feature to help you navigate your way around the game. But you can use any client you feel comfortable with, such as CMud, Mudlet, or even Blowtorch for your phone. As you can see, I'm on the game's homepage right now. So what you're going to want to do is either you can click on the Play Now up here, or you can click down here. And it's going to pop open a new window for you, and this takes you to the game. So now you have to pick a name. You might want to pick something that kind of has a medieval theme to it. I'm just going to pick the name Denna, since I'm a huge fan of Terry Goodkind. So I type in the name just to make sure no one else has used it. And it'll tell me that there's no player by that name on record. Then I click in New. And just follow whatever it's asking you, if that's really the name that you want. Now it's asking you for a password. So it gives criteria of how that password has to look. So it's basically asking for 2 special characters in your password. I'm just going to use a generic password right now because you guys are all going to see what I'm going to put in, and then I'll change it later. Okay, now they're asking for your email address. You could just put none, but if for some reason you were to lose your password, this would help you to contact admin and give them information about your character that would help you be able to get your password back. Okay, so the next part is the whole character creation process. And basically you're going to pick your character's race, their gender, their description, and how your character looks to others. So you're going to type in the numbers for each category. It's pretty self-explanatory. Just remember that your name and your adjectives are going to be how people know you by sight. So you're not going to be able to change them. So consider your decisions carefully. Now let's go over the stats, as I think they're important for you to understand what the strengths and weaknesses of the different races are. There are 6 of them: strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and discipline. Strength is basically nothing more than muscle. It determines how strong your character is, how hard they can hit, how much they can lift, how much they can carry, and yeah, it's basically how big your character is. The next, dexterity, this is your character's nimbleness, your reflexes, flexibility, and precision all rolled into one. This is going to determine how quick your character reacts, as well as precision with weapons that require it, and it even can help you in trying to do things like stealing something, or getting out of being tied up, or dodging blows. The next one, constitution, this is your hardiness, and just how healthy your character is. It determines how much physical abuse your character can take. It also helps with resisting poisons and certain spells without even flinching. Next is intelligence. This is how much you can learn and know. It determines exactly how much mana you have. Mana is related to your spellcasting abilities, by the way. Wisdom. That's the next one. Experience with the world. This stat is going to determine your mana recovery. Again, that's related to your spellcasting abilities. Next and last is discipline. This stat determines how well your character's fortitude is when facing foes in combat. The higher one's discipline, the less likely smaller goblins or trolls are going to attack you. It also determines the strength of opponents you will be able to attack. It comes in as a really handy tool to see if something will easily kill you. If you can't attack it, you probably shouldn't poke it with a stick. Okay, so now that we understand the basics of stats, let's talk about the differences in races so we can choose one. So, humans. Basically, pretty balanced, no real strengths or weaknesses. If you look in a mirror, that's basically what you're picking here. Elves. Elves are ancient and somewhat immortal race. They tend to have high intelligence and wisdom. Their dexterity isn't so bad either, but they have trouble with discipline, and their constitution and strength are generally pretty poor. Elves also have the option later on past the tutorial where you could become a half-elf. You're still going to keep your you're still going to keep the stats of your base race, but you can have more of an option in terms of the racial profile of your character in terms of role-playing. Dwarves are short and stubborn race, very old. They are very strong and they have very good constitution and discipline, but they lack wisdom and aren't too bright. But the real drawback is their stiffness. And by that I mean dexterity. Hobbits are a merry race. They like food and song and dance. They are incredibly dexterous and are a little wiser than average. They are about average in intelligence and discipline, but have very low constitution. They are the weakest of all races. They also have the option to become a Kender in the Kryn portion of the game. The advantage, or disadvantage, depending on how you look at it, is that Kender have no fear and can attack anything regardless of discipline. The disadvantage is that they are known for kleptomania and people may not trust you. Gnomes are a tricky race. They like money and gadgets. They have very high intelligence, but their wisdom is incredibly low in comparison. They're rather dexterous and quick, but have problems with strength and discipline. Their constitution isn't very good either. Keep in mind that these are the tinker kind of gnomes, as seen in Dragonlance. Rumor has it Faerun is introducing a gnome racial guild for the more Fae-type gnome, so keep that in mind if you'd like to go down that route. Goblins are evil creatures, about the size of a hobbit. They are strong killing machines and have good constitution, in fact, the best of any race. Their dexterity is average, as well as their wisdom, but their intelligence and discipline are the worst of all races. They're also the worst smelling of all races. You never know what sort of filth they've been rolling around in. Goblins can become orcs in Middle-earth as well. So, for right now, I'm just going to put human, just to make things simple. And I'm going to pick female. And I'm just going to pick some descriptors. So basically, you can click on the different options and then it will have more options to choose from. So you can see there's a multitude of different ways that you can have your character described. Okay, so now that I've picked two descriptions, it's asking me in what order they want them to be presented. So I'm just going to pick which way that I want it. And now I'm going to pick my character's height and then weight. Okay, now it's giving me a final description of what my character is going to look like, which is very tall and lean. So I'm just going to confirm that. And now I'm in the game. So we're now meeting Lars, and Lars is the original creator of Genesis. So he's talking to you and trying to introduce you to the game a bit, and he's going to give you the option of going through the tutorial. He's also going to give you a map and a newbie pin and a journal. So the purpose of the map is now all of a sudden you'll see on your right the magic map came up, and it shows you where you are, and it explains to you a general idea of where you can go. The journal is there to keep track of all the signs that you've read in the tutorial, and if you read all the signs, then you get quest experience. And your newbie pin basically gives you access to the newbie tell line, which is going to be the place for you to contact others in case you run into problems and you need help. It's a great resource outside of the forums, and I really suggest utilizing it the best that you can. That basically wraps up the character creation process. Next time, I'll go through basic commands with you, and we'll start exploring Silverdell. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you coming along on this adventure, and I look forward to having you join me again.